There are crashes that shake a grandstand, and then there are crashes that physically damage the track itself. What happened at Michigan International Speedway on Sunday, June 7, 2026 was the second kind. Christopher Bell's 20 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota hit the outside wall so hard that the safer barrier, a structure specifically engineered to absorb some of the most violent impacts in motorsport, bent inward and stayed there. NASCAR had to throw a red flag and send a crew out to repair it before racing could continue. That stoppage lasted more than 20 minutes. When it was over, the crash was all anyone in the garage could talk about, and when Joe Gibbs stepped to the microphone after the race, the words he said put his entire organization on edge. The race was the FireKeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway. That track stretches 2 miles and is one of the absolute fastest stops on the entire NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Cars regularly exceed 200 miles per hour on its long straightaways, and the racing there is aggressive from start to finish. Sunday was already a chaotic afternoon before the big crash ever happened. A record-tying 11 caution flags had flown throughout the race, involving half the field to varying degrees. The track was producing incidents all day, but none of them compared to what arrived on lap 148. Christopher Bell came into Michigan as one of the stronger performers in the field. He was sitting 7th in the Cup Series points standings and had put together back-to-back runner-up finishes at Charlotte Motor Speedway and Nashville Super Speedway in the 2 races leading up to this one. He was a legitimate playoff contender, already locked in, and had been in the championship conversation virtually every single week of the season. Chase Elliott, his fellow frontrunner, was 4th in points with 2 wins already in 2026, the only 2 victories Hendrick Motorsports had recorded all season. Both of them were having strong days at Michigan, and both were positioned to contend for a podium finish heading into the final stage. The crash happened on lap 148, just moments after the field went back to green on a restart. Up front, Chase Elliott had given his Hendrick teammate William Byron a strong push to the lead. Right behind them, Elliott and Bell were running side by side, both on fresh tires, both pushing hard for second place. Going into turn 3, Elliott tried to make his move on the inside lane. That is when his 9 Chevrolet got loose. The car broke free underneath him, slid up the track, and made contact with Bell's 20 Toyota. The hit pointed Bell nose first directly at the outside wall. He made contact at nearly a 45-degree angle, full speed, no time to slow down. The back end of Bell's car erupted in flames on impact. The hit was so violent it physically deformed the wall. And then, before anyone could process what had just happened, Elliott slid back across the track and delivered a second hit, this time directly into the driver's side door of Bell's car. The 2 vehicles bounced off each other before Elliott's 9 finally came to rest near the inside barrier. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was calling the race for the Amazon Prime broadcast and was visibly stunned. He told viewers he wanted to give NASCAR credit for all the safety advancements, then added, "I don't know if you'll be able to see a car hit a wall harder than that and be able to get out and walk away." That statement alone captures how severe the moment was. The outer wall had bent inward and stayed that way. Crews came out to repair it. The race was red flagged for more than 20 minutes while the work was completed. When the dust settled, both drivers climbed out of their cars under their own power. That is the first thing every fan looks for, and in this case, it was the best possible news given what the crash looked like. Elliott walked directly over to Bell on the track, and the 2 shared a brief side hug before safety workers loaded them both into ambulances headed for the infield care center. From there, the 2 situations diverged completely. Elliott was evaluated and released relatively quickly. He came straight out and spoke to the media without hesitation. Bell, on the other hand, stayed inside the care center for nearly an hour. When he finally came out, he exited through the back of the building and declined every interview request from the media. He did not speak to anyone. That long stay and that silent exit were the first clear signals that something was not right. Joe Gibbs addressed the media during his post-race press conference, and what he said confirmed what that long stay in the care center had already suggested. The Joe Gibbs Racing Team owner confirmed that Bell was dealing with injuries to his wrist and his ankle. He said, "I think it's just we're going to continue tonight. When he gets home, we're going to make sure that he gets everything that he needs to get there, whatever it might be, and then we'll just have to kind of wait," he added. It was his wrist and his ankle. "I think we're just going to have to wait." Jeff Gluck of The Athletic was first to share the update publicly, and from there it spread across every corner of NASCAR media. JGR issued no additional statement beyond what Gibbs said at the podium. Bell would need to be evaluated further once he returned to North Carolina, and the severity of the injuries would not be known until doctors took a closer look. With Pocono Raceway on the schedule the following weekend, Bell's availability for that race was suddenly a genuine question. Missing races at this point in the season carries real consequences in the points standings. Chase Elliott did not dodge any of it. He stood in front of the cameras and took full responsibility in every interview he gave. He explained to Prime Video that he was running the bottom on fresh tires, trying to get to second place. When his car got loose going into the corner, he said, "I got in there, got free, and I thought I was going to spin, and was kind of committed to spinning out. As soon as I started to commit to spinning, it just hooked up and hooked a right. Unfortunately, it sent Christopher in the wall and me shortly there behind. I stepped over the line and paid for it." Elliott made clear he had already apologized to Bell directly on the track. He told the media, "I just told him I'm sorry. Obviously it was not on purpose, but I knew that was a big hit for both of us." He went further and said, "I think he took the brunt of it. Honestly, I have a lot of respect for Bell, and we've always shown each other a lot of respect on track. I'm glad he was all right. There was no deflection, no attempt to share the blame, no qualification. Elliott owned it completely." Other drivers watching from their cockpits reacted in real time, and their responses said everything about how serious the crash looked from inside the field. Ryan Preece got on his team radio and said, "Let me know if he's okay, that was wild." Bubba Wallace's reaction was even more visceral. He said over the radio, "Holy expletive, please tell me that guy's alright, my god. That was the scariest hit I've ever seen." Kyle Larson was running nearby and got struck by debris flying off Bell's car during the crash. His crew chief, Cliff Daniels, later identified it as Bell's right side window. Larson told the team, "I got him with something in the roof. Pretty sure it left a mark." Daniels confirmed, "We think it was the right side window from the 20 that hit us." The fact that debris from Bell's car traveled far enough to strike Larson's vehicle and leave a mark illustrates just how much energy was released in that impact. On the broadcast, Dale Earnhardt Jr. added, "The impact of that 20 car was insane. The implications for Joe Gibbs Racing are significant. Bell is not just any driver in the field. He is one of the best performers in the Cup Series through the first half of the 2026 season. He is already locked into the playoffs." He had finished second in 2 consecutive races before Michigan. He was running near the front when the crash happened and had a legitimate shot at a strong finish before lap 148 ended his day. He finished 31st, Elliott finished 32nd, but finishing position is entirely beside the point right now. The concern is the wrist and ankle. Both injuries need to be examined by doctors in North Carolina before anyone at JGR can say with certainty whether he will be available for Pocono. Pocono Raceway is a 2.5-mile triangular track, another high-speed venue where physical conditioning and full control of the car are non-negotiable. If the evaluation does not go well, his presence in the Heast 20 the following weekend becomes a real and open question. And in a 15-race regular season stretch heading toward the playoffs, every single race matters. While all of this was unfolding around Bell, the race itself had a remarkable ending. Denny Hamlin had started from the back of the 37-car field after his team made unapproved adjustments to his pole-winning car following qualifying. He spent the opening stage running between 20th and 30th place, working through traffic, letting his crew make adjustments. By lap 140, he was inside the top 5 and moving forward with serious pace. He took the lead on a lap 162 restart and never looked back. His 11 Toyota led the final 39 laps of the 200-lap race and crossed the finish line 11.110 seconds ahead of the field. It was his 3rd win of the 2026 season and his 63rd Career Cup Series victory, tying him with the late Kyle Busch for 9th place on the all-time wins list. Hamlin honored Busch directly in victory lane, waving a black and white 18 Kyle Busch tribute flag from his window during his victory lap. The crowd responded with a standing ovation. In his post-race comments, Hamlin said, "The off-season was rough for me, rough for the NASCAR family. We lost a lot of people. This week we lost gentleman Ned Jarrett and still thinking of Kyle Busch, his wife Samantha, and children Brexton and Lennox. Just grateful to be able to strap in every week and I don't take it for granted." Ned Jarrett, the 2-time series champion and beloved broadcaster known as Gentleman Ned, had passed away that same week, making Hamlin's tribute all the more weighted. Eric Jones finished 2nd. Bubba Wallace was 3rd. Kyle Larson 4th. Carson Hocevar rounded out the top 5. Tyler Reddick, the points leader entering the race, was caught up in the 9-car lap 83 pileup triggered by Hocevar and suffered his first DNF of the 2026 season, finishing 35th. That result cut Reddick's lead nearly in half. Hamlin now trails him by just 51 points with 11 races left in the regular season. The race is over. The trophy has been handed out, the statistics have been filed, but the story that will carry into the week ahead has nothing to do with the final standings. It has everything to do with a single driver and 2 injuries that nobody has a complete answer on yet. Christopher Bell will be evaluated by doctors in North Carolina before Pocono. Until that evaluation happens and those results are known, Joe Gibbs Racing cannot make any promises. Every 20 fan is waiting on the same news, and right now, the only answer anyone has is the one Joe Gibbs gave at the podium. We're just going to have to wait.